We tend to soften the crucifixion with centuries of sanitized religious art, but to understand the weight of this execution, we have to start with the raw, brutal reality of heavy timber hitting dirt. This is Golgotha, the place of the skull, a dry, desolate summit just outside the city walls of Jerusalem, engineered by the Romans to make death a public spectacle. Here, the maker of the physical universe stands entirely naked and battered. The Creator is completely vulnerable before the very world he spoke into existence. The Roman execution protocol was a highly mechanized process. Calloused hands grabbed the victim, forcing him backward to press fresh scourging wounds directly against the rough grain of the cedar beam. To settle a debt in the material world, the payment has to be material. By anchoring the sacrifice in these granular physical details, the splinters, the dirt, and the weight, the event moves from a theological abstraction to a cold, hard, legal reality. Look closely at the longest, thickest rusted spike at the bottom of this arrangement. The empire chose the crudest, most ordinary iron tools to settle an extraordinary, eternal account. The heavy iron mallet connects. A bone-shaking crack echoes across the hillside as the metal is driven cleanly through the wrist. An immediate, massive shockwave tears through the nervous system. As the first blood hits the wood, the fingers instinctively curl inward against the overwhelming physical trauma. Then comes the elevation. The upright beam is hauled skyward by heavy ropes, only to drop violently into a deep square hole cut into the bedrock. The bone-crunching force of that drop instantly pulls the victim's shoulders entirely out of their sockets. Suspended in this position, the lungs slowly compress. To draw a single breath, the victim has to push upward on the iron spike driven through their feet, grinding their raw back against the stone and cedar, simply to gasp for air. Survival on the cross is an active physical struggle, not a passive state. By repeatedly pushing up on those nails for every single gasp, the victim is opting in to the next moment of agony to ensure the work is finished. As the execution drags on, the atmosphere itself reacts. The midday sun fails, and a dark, heavy, copper-colored twilight swallows the entire hillside. This diagram illustrates the invisible theological transaction happening at that precise moment. The entire concentrated guilt and darkness of the human race is descending, compressing directly onto this single physical coordinate. The physical universe mourns the suffering of its maker, and the heavens go absolutely, deafeningly silent. The victim throws his head back toward the black sky and cries out in a state of desertion. This moment marks a complete severance between the Father and the Son, as the spiritual price is finally extracted. While metal pierced the skin, the spiritual transaction involved the interior weight of absorbing every human failure. This internal collapse is what characterizes the cross as a place where darkness is neutralized through suffering. With his final breath, he doesn't whimper in defeat. He lets out a triumphant roar. It is finished. The mission is complete. The moment the Creator's blood hits the dirt, the earth reacts violently. The solid rock of Golgotha fractures, and the ground heaves beneath the executioner's feet. Miles away, inside the center of the temple, a massive, heavy veil separating humanity from the divine presence suddenly rips straight down from top to bottom. The barrier between heaven and earth has completely failed. We are left with haunting historical imprints to contemplate the sheer cost of this brutal afternoon. The body is pried from the wood and laid in a dark cave, where the Roman Empire applies its wax seal and rolls a massive stone into place. This act was an attempt by the state to formalize the end of a movement. That official stele actually marks the close of a finalized account. Every drop of blood and every gasp for air served as a payment in a cosmic transaction, meaning that by the time the stone settled, the debt was gone and a new morning was breaking.